डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Namaste friends, welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University video lecture series. I am Dr. Deepal Pandya, Assistant Professor English from School of Humanities and Social Sciences. In this video lecture, we are going to talk about literary terms in the paper Introduction to Literature. So let's begin friends. Before we begin with literary terms, we would like to know that what is called a literary terms, right? So the meaning of literary terms is it refers to the technique, style and formatting used by writers and speakers to emphasize, embellish or strengthen their writings. So the writers and the speakers use this kind of style and techniques to make their writing and speaking very effective through literary terms. Now we all have the question that what is the importance of literary terms? Why do we need them, right? So literary terms are important in a wide variety of ways. So there are wide variety of ways in which literary terms are important. They allow the writers and speakers to make comments on society, politics and trends. So the writers and the speakers always comment on society, political scenario of the contemporary time and the trends which are going on. So literary terms help them to make the writing and speaking more effective. Rhetorical devices can be used to strengthen arguments which persuade and convince the audiences. So it helps to convince the audience about certain things and it also helps to strengthen their arguments. When to use literary term? Now this is also very important. The variety of uses for literary terms spans across genres and it remarkably wide ranging based on the goals and needs of the writer. So the writer can use the literary terms anytime, anywhere in the writing he or she wants. And to make it effective, it is very much required. No matter which genre of writing it may be, literary terms can be used by the wishes of the writer. Categories of literary terms. We can learn the literary terms as they are or we can also categorize them into 6 parts. So the first one is persuasion. Persuasion means you pursue somebody or you convince somebody about certain things. So persuasive literary terms help the writers understand how you can persuade your readers. Second is figurative language. Figurative language is generally used by the poets. So poets use this kind of figurative language to make their poetry or the rhythm more and more beautiful. Third one is plot and character devices. Plot and character devices also ranges from one to the other and there are many different types of plots and the characters are generally used by the writers to make the literary work more and more interesting. Fourth is sound and rhythm. It is the same way figurative language is used. Fifth one is word play and sixth one is error to avoid. For example, cliche. Cliche is the repetitive certain dialogues or repetitive certain scenes which are used, overused, and it will be called cliche. Now let's begin with the first literary term called Gothic. The term applies to literature, architecture and other forms of arts. Gothic fiction combines horror and romanticism. So in your writing, in a novel or in any literary piece, if you find some ghostly elements, some supernatural elements, very cloudy and dangerous weather and romanticism, you will understand that it is a Gothic writing. For example, Horace Walpole's The Castle of Otranto, then Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Anne Radcliffe's Udolpho are the examples of Gothic writing. Next is Hellenism. The term Hellenism used in literary discussions refers stories, novels, dramas or poetry that has been inspired by classic Greek literature or makes use of classic Greek style or forms. So we have to understand that if in any kind of story, novels, drama or poetry, classic Greek literature type is used or any kind of classic Greek style is used, it can be called Hellenism. For example, James Joyce's Ulysses is a modern telling of Odyssey. Imagism. Now when we listen this word imagism, there is a word we understand that is image, right? So imagism was a movement in early 20th century Anglo-American poetry that refers the exactness of imagery and clear sharp languages. So you understand that the writer or the poet uses a very exact imagery and clear sharp language to create a kind of picture in the mind of the reader. The description is so vivid that the readers can actually visualize the character or the situation they are reading. For example, we will take the same example of James Joyce again, that for example, poems by James Joyce that use clear, concise language to create pictures. Judicial criticism. Judicial is the word related to justice and it is related to judiciary, and we all know criticism. So it tends to pronounce the judgments of the literary work based on certain rules. So there are set of rules which are given and those rules are applied on a particular literary text, and then the judgment is given whether the text is good or not so good. The term of rules, the set of rules are derived from ancient Greek and Roman masters. Linguistics. So we all are aware of the different types of sciences such as physics, chemistry, biology. So linguistics is also a kind of science. Linguistics is a scientific study of language. So it is a language science which includes the understanding of morphology, syntax, and phonetics. Mimesis. Mimesis is an ancient Greek term used in literary criticism and philosophy that carries a wide range of meaning including imitation, non-sensuous similarity, receptivity, representation, mimicry, the act of expression, the act of resembling, and the presentation of itself. So in simple words, we can say that mimesis is somewhere related to similarity and representation. Multiculturalism. When we hear the word multi, we understand that it is more than one. So multiculturalism has a range of meanings within the context of sociology, of political philosophy, and of colloquial use. It is the way to respond the cultural and religious diversity. So no matter what religion or what culture you belong to, multiculturalism responds with all kind of justice and equality. Naturalism. Naturalism is related to nature. Who among us does not like to read the poems of Wordsworth, Keats or Shelley, right? We all love their poems so much. We love romantic poets and we love to read about nature. Naturalism is actually different from it. Naturalism is a literary movement beginning in the late 19th century, similar to literary realism in its rejection of romanticism. So naturalism actually rejects the romantic idea of nature, but distinct in its embrace of determinism, detachment, scientific objectivism and social commentary. The movement largely traces to the theories of French author Émile Zola. Orientalism. Edward Said is the pioneer of the literary term called Orientalism, and he wrote a book with the same title. Orientalism is the imitation or depiction of aspects in the Eastern world. These depictions are usually done by writers, designers, and artists from the West. Psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is related to psychology, the science of behavior. Psychoanalytic literary criticism is literary criticism or literary theory which in method, concept or form is influenced by the traditions of psychoanalysis begun by Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud, the very famous psychologist, came up with this theory of psychoanalysis. Why do we use this psychoanalytical theory in understanding the text or a poem? We use this to understand what is going on in the mind of the characters and why certain situations happened in the novel. It becomes very useful for us when we have the knowledge of psychology to apply it on a literary text, because you will find in your writing that there are many kind of characters who have compulsion disorders. They do certain things in certain way, they speak in certain way, and there are many characters who have bipolar disorder. So when these kind of special characters we find in the special characteristics we find in the characters, psychoanalytical criticism helps us to understand things better. Pluralism. We all know the meaning of pluralism. Plural means more than one. So pluralism is a political philosophy holding that people of different beliefs, backgrounds and lifestyle can coexist in the same way society and participate equally in the political process. So no matter which belief you follow or what background you have or what lifestyle you like to consider, everyone should be participating equally in politics. That's what pluralism believes. Subaltern. Subaltern is largely related to Gayatri Spivak, who wrote an essay called Can the Subaltern Speak? A subaltern is someone with a low ranking in a society, political or other hierarchy. It can also mean someone who has been marginalized or oppressed. So every country around the globe will find a group of people who are marginalized or oppressed. So they will be called subaltern, and the theory related to that will be called subaltern theory. Structuralism. Structuralism is a general theory of culture and methodology that implies that elements of human culture must be understood by way of their relationship to a broader system. Stream of consciousness. Now this is one of the most important part in the novel. There are many novels which are based on stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is a narrative mode or method that attempts to depict the multitudinous thoughts and feelings which pass through the mind of a narrator. So you will find in Stream of Consciousness novel that the sentences start from first line and the full stop comes on the 5th or 6th line. Why? Because it's just like the thoughts, the thoughts keep coming in our head. So the writer puts the same exact thoughts of the narrator's mind on the paper, and that's why it's called stream of consciousness. Now stream of consciousness is quite different from soliloquy, because in soliloquy the character speaks certain sentences on the stage or speaks certain sentences on the stage out loud, whereas in stream of consciousness the character is only thinking in his head. For example, James Joyce Ulysses, and one of the most brilliant example of stream of consciousness novel is Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. Historicism. Historicism is related to history. Historicism is a mode of thinking that assigns major significance of a specific context such as historical period, geographical place and local culture. So you might have seen many movies which are made in these days but they refer certain past time, like certain movies based on partition or certain books written on partition. So they have used the literary term called historicism. Historicism also comprises of artistic styles that draw inspiration from recreating historic styles. Humanism. It is an outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or supernatural. So humanists believe that divine God is not important, other supernatural powers are also not important, only and only humans are important. Humanists believe that human is the center of the universe. Hybridity. This is one of the most important literary term, hybridity. Hybridity is one of the important ideas of Homi Bhabha. So Homi Bhabha is the name associated with hybridity. He borrowed the term from Edward Said's works. According to hybridity, colonialism is not something locked in the past. So we as an Indian, we are also post-colonial country, but still we are fascinated with the Western civilization, Western people and the Western ways of living. We still have that kind of mind, thoughts in our head and beliefs that they are better than us and we have to copy them. So that is called hybridity, in which we are somewhere they have destroyed, in which we understand that colonialism constantly intruding the present too. So it is intruding in our culture also, it intrudes our beliefs also, and it intrudes in our way of life also. Mysticism. It is a collection of distinctive practices, discourses, texts, institutions and traditions aimed at human transformation. It is often characterized by self-delusion and self-surrender. Neoclassicism. Neoclassicism was a Western cultural movement in the decorative and visual arts, literature, theatre, music and architecture that drew inspiration from the art and culture of classical antiquity. Objective correlative. This is another very important literary term. It is coined by T.S. Eliot in his one of the most famous works, Tradition and Individual Talent. It refers to a pattern of object, actions and events which can serve effectively to awaken in the reader the emotional response which author intends to give without giving a direct statement of the emotion. So the author does not say that the reader should have this particular emotion after this kind of incident depicted in the book, but the author describes the objects, actions and events in that way that the author gets the emotional response which he or she wants from the readers. Positivism. A philosophical term that holds that every rationally justifiable assertion can be scientifically varied or is capable of logical or mathematical proof. Primitivism. Primitivism is based on basic or normal primary life. It is a belief in the value of what is simple and unsophisticated, expressed as a philosophy of life or through art or literature. It was a Western art movement that borrows visual forms from non-Western or prehistoric people. Sentimentalism. Sentimentalism has the word sentiments, which are emotions. So it is an excessive expression of the feelings of tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia in behavior. So the excessive expressions of sadness, tenderness, and nostalgia. So the writer uses these kind of sentimentalism excessively to sometimes might ridicule the situation or might create a humor or irony or satire out of it. In literature, it is a device to induce a tender emotional response disproportionate to the situation at hand. Utopia. The term utopia refers to an ideal or place in which all aspects are perfect or nearly so. So the place or the idea of utopia is related to perfection. The concept name was created by Sir Thomas More in 1516 as the title of his book was Utopia, a fictional description of an island that had the qualities of perfection. So the island of Utopia, which is depicted by Thomas More, is so perfect. There are no crimes, people are so happy, there is so much justice there. So the whole term of utopia comes from this book Utopia, written by Sir Thomas More. Unitarianism. Unitarianism is a term related to church and Christianity. The term Unitarian is sometimes applied today to those who belong to the Unitarian Church but do not hold a Unitarian theological belief. So it belongs to those people who of course belong to the Unitarian Church, but they do not hold any kind of Unitarian theological belief, because these two things are different according to them. In the past, the vast majority of members of Unitarian churches were Unitarians also in theology. So earlier people used to believe in both the things. Over time, however, some Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists moved away from the traditional Christian roots of Unitarianism. So that's it for this video lecture. We will soon meet in the next video lecture with another exciting and interesting topic. Keep learning literature. Namaste.